Hello everyone, I'm Rudy. Welcome to my video. I just recently bought a microphone mainly for the purpose of making videos. Mainly just of me like yapping, stating my opinion, getting things off my chest, off my mind. I kind of just wanted to create a place for myself where I can verbalize things and hopefully connect with others on my viewpoint and perspective, and hoping other people connect with that or have something to add on to anything that I might have to say. Yeah, just really wanted to just start making things for the sake of making it. So, welcome. Hello. One of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about and share today were just things that I'm recently inspired by. The first thing that comes to mind is seeing my friends make things, whether that be their own art, their own videos, their own content, even if it's just something as simple as posting a story time on their close friends on Instagram. I consider that making something. And just seeing my friends kind of put themselves out there and showing who they are makes me want to kind of do the same thing. I think for the past few years I've been very in a like hermit state, and I've been very just kind of just like in my own cave, in my own world, um, connecting with myself, trying to heal from past things, trying to grow. And I think coming up on 2026 is going to be a lot of me just kind of like sharing who I am and putting myself out there and just fucking experiencing the world, and not being home as much, not being to myself as much. Yeah, so that's one of my main goals in 2026 is just to put myself out there and be like, this is who I am. Another thing that I've been recently inspired by too is podcasts. Two in particular that come to mind that I've been watching are Amy Poehler's Good Hang podcast and Delta Works Very Delta podcast. Amy Poehler's is very inspiring to me just because she has a lot of unique guests on her podcast where they really dive deep into, these are people who have like careers in like the entertainment industry and other types, mainly entertainment, I would say, whenever it comes to comedy, writing, drama, music, and hearing their stories of how they got there and what inspired them and kind of the moves and steps that they took in their lives to get to where they are just is so fascinating to hear. And it's always just Amy has a really good connection with her guests, and she's a great interviewer, and you just learn so much about the people that she has on there through this format. So hearing Amy on her podcast, interviewing her guests, and getting information and seeing how they went, their beginnings to where they are now, it requires you to kind of just put yourself out there and sort of take risks. So I want to just kind of just do that for myself. And Delta Workers is probably one of my favorite drag queens. She has a lot of great guests on her pod too. Not only just from the drag world, but from the internet, from other podcasters, YouTubers, stuff like that, and always great conversations. And Delta is very inspiring to me because she is just herself, authentically herself. No apologies about it whatsoever. She just states her opinions. Doesn't care if you agree with it or not because she's a person who understands this is how I see it, this is my experience, and I'm going to tell you about it. And seeing that type of authenticity is just fucking awesome. And that's another thing that makes me want to just be more my authentic self as well. My favorite videos on her podcast are when she does have drag entertainers who are also from the SoCal scene, because that is where she got her start, was in this network of gay clubs and bars in Southern California, along with other drag entertainers who got their start here as well. And a lot of the entertainers that she has on her podcast are still people who are performing today that I've had the privilege of seeing in person at local drag bars, specifically in Long Beach. So seeing that and hearing like the back in my day stories of how it was doing drag as early as the 90s is just great content to hear. And I love hearing how resourceful they are, how smart they are, how just resilient and capable these entertainers are, including Delta, has been a great source of inspiration for me to listen to recently. I've also been very inspired by music, specifically emo music. Bands that I used to listen to in middle school, and for me that was like 2006 from 2008. But bands just from that time, emo scene, metal, what have you, punk, post punk, pop punk, all of it. Wintertime for me is always a time where I want to just listen to emo music, um, rock, whatever. I say emo just because I feel like I grew up as an emo kid. I was a very emo kid when I was younger during my middle school days. Very emo, very dramatic, very melodramatic. And I think through this music, I've been kind of connecting to that part of myself and recognizing that I'm still that emo kid that I was, you know, um, almost 20 years ago. That's crazy. Time flies. But I think I kind of had distanced myself from my emo past for a bit, maybe because I thought it was too cringe, maybe because I was just sort of embarrassed of the things that I put online on MySpace back in the day. But through this music, I have realized that it is definitely a part of me. It's a lot of music that I still love, and it's just something that I gotta accept. But in that process, I've been rediscovering parts of myself that maybe I haven't allowed myself to listen to. Like it's been kind of screaming out, like this. There's this part of you that wants to be heard, and you haven't been listening. But through this music, I've been getting there. If that makes sense. One band in particular that I wanted to discuss is I Wrestled a Bear Once. I have been listening to a lot of I Wrestled a Bear Once, Iwabo. They are just an incredible band. I've mainly been listening to their self titled EP that I think came out in 2007, and also their first album, It's All Happening, which I believe came out in 2009. But they are just an incredible band and something that I've been listening to every single day in the month of December. I rediscovered them. Their song Tastes Like Heaven Bacon specifically was something that I really listened to heavily when I was younger. I listened to it again and I was just reminded of how great they are. And that made me dive deeper into their work, deeper into more of their songs. And their Wikipedia page describes them as like metalcore, mathcore, avant garde metal. And they are all those things. But they are just so incredible because when you listen to an album, if you just hit play from the start track to the end and allow yourself to listen to it all the way through, you just do not know what you're going to get. Yes, of course, it's very metal inspired, but there are also a lot of influences of jazz, folk music, trip hop, video game sound effects, and it's just so ridiculous. You could tell that they were, I don't say this in a disrespectful way, but they just weren't taking it serious. They were not playing by any sort of rules of saying this is a genre that we need to follow. They were just having so much fun with sound and with different things, experimenting and putting all these sounds together to see if it would work because they wanted to, and it did work. It's incredible, and I'm not sure of their popularity, especially within like the emo scene, emo scene kid metal scene, but I'm here to talk about them just to give them credit because they are just absolutely great. Um, there is a lot of screaming, there is a lot of noises. So if you do listen like that, I guess is a warning if you're not really used to that type of music. But if you are in for a real treat because they will just blow you away. So yeah, just a quick recap. Things that haven't inspired me are just seeing what my friends are putting out there. I love my friends. I support them in everything they do, and I love seeing the things that they put online because I love that other people get to see who they are on this platform, and I get the privilege of knowing them in real life and in person. I've also been recently inspired by podcasts, especially Amy Poehler's and Very Delta's. If you haven't seen either of those, I would say go and check them out. Some of my favorite episodes with Amy Poehler are definitely her and Tina Fey, probably her and Aubrey Plaza, just people that she has great rapport with, Rachel Dratch, and hearing their like SNL starts, improv starts to SNL to where they're at now. It's just great. It's inspiring. It's good stories. It's intriguing. So I would probably recommend at least some of those guest podcasts that she had on if you want to give it a listen. And for Very Delta, I would say the Big D episode is probably one of my favorites. Anything with Landon Cider, I don't know if there's been multiple, but just her and Landon Cider's rapport and friendship is great. And their stories together are great. Their dynamic together is great. I would also say maybe Jules of Long Beach as well. Because Jules, hearing her and just like how she kind of started, she's credited, Delta credits her as starting drag brunches in Southern California, maybe in the country, maybe in the world. So hearing that was pretty cool, and just hearing that drag history orally from people who have been in the queer scene for so long, doing drag for so long before it was popularized by RuPaul's Drag Race, is some great freaking history. So I would say definitely check those guest episodes out on Very Delta, and then the previously one mentioned for Amy Poehler's podcast. And lastly, the other thing that I was recently inspired by was emo music, particularly I Wrestled a Bear Once. Their self-titled EP, I Wrestled a Bear Once, and their album, It's All Happening. If you haven't heard it, go listen and tell me what you think. I've also been listening to like a lot of other emo stuff, specifically female-led emo metal things like Kitty. Kitty's first album, Spit, incredible. Go give that a listen to. And, Flyleaf. I don't know if I can say this word, but there's a band called Mannequin that I've been listening to as well. And yeah, all of that recently, all of the female-led metal emo stuff has been super great. So yeah, those are some things that I've been recently inspired by. And if you're still here, however many minutes long into this video, I appreciate you watching. This is the first video that I'll be making, and hopefully there are more to come. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will catch you all next time.